Welcome to the Sports Car Lessons Podcast. I'm your host, Big Ken. Whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on a streaming service, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. You'll be notified whenever I drop any new content. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Happy Wednesday. We're halfway through, almost to the weekend, right? I went 4 for 4 on my fantasy this past weekend. Definitely nothing to cheer about. Injuries have been killing me on a couple of teams, and I keep pounding the waiver wire, and I get so deflated when I end up losing by like 4 points, and at least 3 or 4 of my guys I literally just picked up from the waiver wire and doing everything I can to fill spots on a team. And most teams you only get 2 IR spots, so you're sitting with so many people that are just injured on your bench because you give them away. Other people are happy to pick them up. I don't remember a year, and I think I've been doing this since 2003, that I've been affected with so many injuries on the same team. Usually you get 1 or 2 guys, even if they're your first and second picks or whatever, okay, they're injured. But then when you got like 4 or 5 guys, all starters that you're counting on, and they're all injured, or you get a guy like Devontae Adams that's not injured but just doesn't want to play, right? I guess it's bound to happen if I have 8 teams. That I think one of my goals this year is just try to go 8-0 1 week, just run the board, right, and win all 8 teams. We'll see if I can make it happen. Shout out to my guy Pat at Gordy's Cards. He connected me with someone selling a WNBA collection. I was able to go Monday and make a deal, and I picked up the whole collection. It was a couple 5-row boxes of all cards in fantastic condition, most penny sleeved and top loaded. A lot of early stuff, 1998, 99, 2000, 2005, 2006, a lot of those important early years. And there was a lot of memorabilia too, autographed magazines, autographed pictures, autographed basketballs, right? Just a lot of really cool stuff. And I've been going through it the last couple days, just it's so like I enjoy doing that. Probably that to me, going through like the unknown through the boxes is probably one of my favorite things to do in the hobby. But when I get to shows, I find it so hard to just go into. I get bored way too quick in boxes at shows, and I know I shouldn't. And I know there's so much value there, and I know so many people are going to tell me, that's where all the value is. But as I start going through, I'm just like, I start to get bored. But when I'm here at home, today I put time aside today, and I started going through, pulling cards out and separating them and putting them, in the years and what sets they are, and looking up comps on them. And next thing you know, like almost 7 hours went by. I'm like, oh my God, I mean, I have to get up and go do something. Like I shouldn't be sitting here the whole time doing this, but it's one of my favorite things to do. But it's interesting as I go through this stuff. And I felt the same way, and I still feel the same way when I purchased the non-sport collection. I don't know how long that's been. I think that was in August. I bought that collection, and I'm still going through that, separating that out. That you can tell somebody put so much work into curating these collections. The non-sport, every set was complete. There wasn't one set in all those that was not complete. It was this person who was building that had to complete every single set. No cards missing, right? And notes notes upon notes, handwritten notes, and all the different binders of what's here and what's more valuable. Like it was like leaving a roadmap for me, as I went in, because a lot of the different sets I didn't know that much about, but going by this person's notes, I could really figure out, what he was saying, and what part of the set was better than others. And I'm seeing the same with this WNBA collection that I just picked up Monday, with notes inside the boxes separating the cards. Um, and some of the stuff still in their original packaging that was mailed to them. Um, and a lot of added stuff too, like pictures of themselves at the WNBA All-Star game or at a signing. Like there'd be a picture of them with the player, and the player signing a picture, and then also this picture is in this envelope. I have to say it hits differently. I know both of these collections, the owners of them have passed away. But in some ways, I feel like they're here with me as I go through these collections. On the non-sport, I could have made a ton of money breaking up the Star Wars, those complete sets. And so many people messaged me, and other people who looked at it said, "Oh my God, these cards are in really nice condition." Uh, if I would have cherry picked and pulled out the valuable cards and had them graded and sold them separately, I probably would have done very well. And I really struggled with that. I struggle with that because as I'm going through and I see all these notes, and I know how much work it must have been for someone to put all this together. I put a lot of work into, and I really struggled with the decision whether I was going to, and I talked about that a little bit, whether I was going to break that set up or I was going to sell it, um, after somebody put so much work into completing it. Uh, who am I to break it up? I mean, it just felt bad. I mean, who am I to break up? So, like, someone put all that work into it. Who am I to break it up? So I was able to find somebody who I know, and pretty confident that they're going to keep this whole set together. Um, and I think it's better kept together, right? Even though, again, I could have cherry picked it and probably made a ton of money. I made the decision to be reasonable and sell it to somebody who would keep that set together. And I know most of you are probably shaking your head, being like, "Big Ken, you're so stupid." Right? I know, but I mean, I think there's enough people out there that feel the other way too. Um, it's maybe I should have went for the money, but in this case, I didn't. Um, And those people are not here going through this stuff with me, looking at these notes, and I know I'm saying this, and I don't know if I'm explaining it the right way, or just letting you know, but just seeing how passionate these people were, like this person in building these sets, and how passionate he was in doing it. It's tough. It's tough to make those decisions, struggle with it. Uh, the WNBA lot is a little different. There are many cards, in many sets, but I don't believe there are any complete sets. It was somebody who, I could tell this person who their favorite players were, right? Because, there would be a bunch of cards, and then all of a sudden there'd be 10 of the same cards, and some of them in-person autos on them, and the same with the pictures of, and the basketball and everything else, um, stuff autographed from them. So obviously you can see like who their favorite players. I could tell who the favorite players were, even the magazines, um, that are all autographed too. Nothing is which is interesting because, of course, it's just somebody's collection, right? But nothing is authenticated. There are more autos than you can imagine, but nothing is authenticated. But if it's one person's collection, right? Who cares? I mean, we only need to authenticate things, right? When we're selling it off to somebody else. If we just plan on keeping it and we know it's authentic, what do we care? Why would we spend money to authenticate it, right? Uh, but these collections, they're very personal. They're very personal I mean, we know we build collections too. We're building our own PC, right? We know how personal they are. Um, I think most of this WNBA stuff, is before its time. I'm looking up the values of the cards as I'm separating them, and I think to myself, it's the quiet before the storm on those. Um, where the WNBA is now and the attention that's on it, and all the new fans that have arrived over the last couple of years. I get messages from a lot of people, when I'm talking about the WNBA here, and they'll send me messages and say, look, I'm collecting as much as I can of the early stuff of the WNBA, building collections now, of a lot of the early stuff, saying that they know, there's going to be a lot of value in this stuff down the road. I have to agree. I don't know where down the road. I don't know how far down the road. I know this year, like the WNBA with the Caitlin Clark stuff coming out, I know it's going to be all the rage. I know the prices are going to be through the roof on that because there's so many people, even people who don't collect, want to own Caitlin Clark cards, right? So I understand that. But hopefully this will be the beginning of something better. We need to keep having people, the talent, come behind, and we need a lot more Caitlin Clarks coming into the WNBA to get this thing, going. And who knows where and how far not how far, but how long it's going to take to get. I mean, we watched the values, right? We watched all that stuff happen with baseball, right? Over the years, that early baseball stuff didn't have a lot of value, and then it exploded. Happened with basketball. It's starting to happen now with football, or it's been happening with football. And we have to remember WNBA's first season was 1997, right? So it's only 27 years in the making. Nothing compared to these other sports. But, jumping back, what happens to our collections when we're gone? Right? What happens to our collections when we're gone? In the instance of these two collections that I'm referring to, the non-sport and the WNBA, the non-sport, a family member who didn't know anything about the cards, just sold the non-sport collection. And of course, the work that her husband put into it, she thought it was worth $1 million, right? And to him, it was worth $1 million. The years that and she talked about the years, all the years and the time he put into building those sets. She thought, it was worth so much money. And I mean, there is value to it, but not as much as she originally thought there would be, right? And in the case of the WNBA collection, it was just donated to a nonprofit organization. And I know you hear, you've heard the expression, they're turning over in their graves, right? And that's what I kind of think, but on the other hand, when somebody dies, you hear people, talk about collections that they're a burden, right? They're like, oh, I got what am I going to do with all this stuff? And some people collect a lot more than others, right? So there could be, and there could be a lot of value, or there just, financial value, and there just could be a lot of sentimental value, which is even worse, especially like in when somebody puts all the work into it and a family member thinks, oh, I'm rich, I'm just going to sell it all. But is that what we want to happen? I mean, I guess it doesn't matter what what happens to our collection when we're gone. It doesn't affect us directly, right? Because we're gone. But shouldn't we be putting something in place? Would you want your collection to stay together or be picked apart or sold to a stranger? Right? Sold off, broken up, sold off to the highest bidder or worse. I mean, just think about that for a minute. Think about that for a minute. If your collection was just nobody really knew and said, "Oh, just sell it off, just take it or whatever, donate it, give it away." I mean, thinking about it, thinking about our collections, I'm like, the anxiety, right? The oh my God, I can't believe, but when people see it to be a burden, like to do something with it. I mean, I guess their first thought, I mean, we do this all the time. First thought is to give it away, right? Give it away to somebody else. And I can honestly say I've never put much thought into it until sitting here going through this WNBA collection. Sitting here with collections that I've ended up with. I've ended up with other people's collections. And I thought to myself, all that hard work and all those years to put into it, and someone they don't even know ended up with it. Someone they've never met in their life, someone they never knew existed, ended up with their prized possessions, right? Think about that. Have you put something into place with your collection? Do you know where your collection will end up after you're gone? I think it's something we all need to think about, regardless of the value. It's something that I started thinking about now, and I have nothing in place. I have nothing in place with my collection, and it's something I have to start thinking about. Putting something in place, right? Regardless of the value. I'm sure it'd be helpful for for our loved ones to know, where it's going and what to do with it or who's getting it. Have you been in this situation? Have you ended up with a lot that you started go through and it kind of starts to hit a little differently and starts to feel, more personal, right? Than just like, oh, it's just a business deal. I'm just going to buy it, break it, and sell it, right? Break it up and sell it. Has it become more personal, or is this just me? Is this just, the emotional sap that I am, that that I think of these things going through. Like I almost feel like these people are here with me as I'm going through some of these collections. Do you feel a connection with the original owner, right? Let me know what you think. Leave a comment. I know I am not alone in this. I know I'm not alone in this. And again, I've asked people that have been in this situation that do nothing with the hobby and nothing with cards, and they feel it's more of a burden if there was nothing put in place. And I think that's why a lot of these collections end up, in the hands of people that never knew the actual owner or somebody who put all that work into it. So I don't know, just a thought. Leave a comment. Let me know, what did you put in place? Have you figured out what you're doing with your collection? I know it's a dreary thought, right? But we're all going to be gone someday. I got my CJ Stroud downtown. I talked about that. I picked that up a couple weeks ago. I sent that into PSA. That card came back today, as a matter of fact, shipped back today. And I mentioned when I bought it that I did not think it would gem, but thought it would be a solid 9, and it is. So here's the card here. So I'm happy to have it back before the weekend. I'll be doing a show. I'll be doing a show Sunday. I'll be doing the 413 card show in Chicopee, Mass, on Sunday. I think it's like a 9 to 2 or a 9 to 4 show. It's just a one-day show. So I will be there on Sunday, and so will the CJ Stroud downtown. If you are interested, that will be there for sale. If you're at the show, definitely, or in the area, definitely come by, stop by, say hello, and I will be there. We have a whole row. We have a whole row there with Bill and Billy and Whittlebug Cards and a number of other people. I think we have like 8 or 10 tables lined up. So definitely stop by, say hello. Should be a good time. Should be a good show. I'm hoping it's a good show, right? And I had this discussion with somebody else today that, this is the third time that I know of the show, and the first two shows were great shows. A lot of foot traffic. There's a lot of tables. There's a lot of dealers. And I know over the last few weeks, over the last month, I know, foot traffic has been way down at a lot of shows. So again, this will just be another barometer. I don't know. I really haven't looked into any other Massachusetts shows going on Sunday, but I don't think there's many other shows going on that day. So it should be a good barometer of, the shows in this area. And that's it. I'll be back with a recap of that show and more, either Sunday night or Monday. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. And if you like what you hear, please definitely subscribe. And most importantly, tell a friend and spread the word. Until next time, take care of yourselves and everyone around you.